For decades, the story of the ancient Maya has been told as a mystery. Textbooks describe a society of enigmatic architects who raised stone pyramids in the jungle, ruled during a brief golden age, and then simply vanished. But researchers are mapping the jungle using LiDAR, which fires laser pulses through the canopy to find hidden ruins, and sequencing environmental DNA from soil. These tools have rendered our traditional understanding of the Maya timeline obsolete. We now know this society began thousands of years earlier than we thought, functioned for centuries without kings, and that their famous collapse was actually a man-made environmental crisis. The Maya didn't disappear. The same massive infrastructure that built their civilization eventually reached a breaking point. In the Mexican state of Tabasco, archaeologists recently mapped Aguada Fénix. Dating back to 1100 BC, this earthen ceremonial platform is so massive that for generations it was mistaken for a natural landscape. Moving nearly 4 million cubic meters of dirt to build this plateau required millions of days of human labor. Yet excavators have found no signs of elite tombs or central rulers directing the work. At Aguada Fénix, a pre-existing society didn't order the construction of a monument. Instead, the massive coordination required to move that much earth is what actually forged these groups into a unified civilization. By stacking clay and earth together, the early Maya united themselves through cooperative engineering, thriving long before the rise of a rigid hierarchy. In the Classic era, at cities like Tikal and Calakmul, the philosophy changed. Power was now centralized under divine kings who demanded stone pyramids to project their absolute authority. The building material shifted from packed earth to quarried limestone. To decorate these sprawling stone cities, builders coated almost every surface in a bright white plaster known as stucco. This production came at a heavy environmental cost. To create stucco, the Maya had to burn and crush raw limestone into powder. Making just 1 square meter of the finish required burning 20 entire trees for firewood. Scaling that up to cover thousands of buildings required an insatiable amount of timber. To meet the demand, workers stripped the landscape, clearing up to 70% of the surrounding forest. The king's ultimate symbols of power were eroding the ecosystem that kept their cities habitable. Because tree roots are essential for recycling moisture into the atmosphere, mass deforestation disrupted the local water cycle, leading to severe multi-decade droughts. During these dry seasons, survival depended entirely on the city reservoirs. We now know what was in that water by analyzing environmental DNA, the genetic residue left behind by ancient organisms in the soil. As human waste washed into the stagnant water, it fed massive blooms of cyanobacteria. These algae produce microcystins, toxins so potent that a single drop on the tongue can be fatal. The water was also chemically poisoned. The brilliant red paint used to decorate the royal pyramids was made from cinnabar, a mercury sulfate, which washed off the stonework and drained directly into the city's drinking supply. Consuming this water led to chronic mercury poisoning among the elite. This caused neurological damage, impaired judgment, and metabolic syndrome, a condition leading to severe obesity. The paint intended to make the rulers look divine was slowly poisoning their minds and bodies. A divine king's primary job was to act as a link to the gods and maintain the natural order. With the water turning visibly green and toxic, the rulers lost their legitimacy and the trust of their people. Desperate to secure whatever clean water and fertile land remained, superpowers like Tikal and Calakmul turned on each other, pulling neighbors into bloody regional wars. Rulers forged fragile alliances that ended in bitter betrayals. Armies clashed in the jungle, claiming human trophies to assert dominance as the political structure fractured. Strangled by toxic water, starvation, and endless warfare, these heavily engineered metropolises devolved from grand capitals into inescapable death traps. In the 9th century, the Maya did not mysteriously vanish into thin air. The abandonment of these stone cities was a strategic choice. The population evaluated their failing infrastructure and simply decided to walk away. Families migrated to regions with more reliable water sources, adapting to their new environments. They intentionally decentralized their political structures, leaving the era of authoritarian, resource-draining kings behind. The civilization endured and evolved. Today, millions of Maya descendants still live across Central America, carrying the languages and traditions of their ancestors. The Maya record stands as a cautionary tale, a society whose demand for monumental status outpaced the actual limits of the environment that sustained it.